A pay stub for an air traffic controller showing Tuesday's check will be for $0. It's why controller Jack Chris spends his days off driving DoorDash.
You're not getting a tip.
The single dad is trying to make some extra money to help cover the cost of his daughter's high school tuition. How stressful is life right now with this shutdown?
Yeah, man. It's been incredibly difficult. You can feel the tension, and it's heavy, and it hurts.
As the government shutdown rolls into its 25th day, Congress remains unable to make a deal.
She tipped $2 yesterday.
Chris says he's tapped his retirement funds and taken out a high-interest short-term loan to make sure he has the cash to weather a long shutdown. From the standpoint of a single working dad, how is all of this impacting life at home?
That's a great question. It's hard enough just going to work. Now when you add in not getting paid, that's when you just like multiply the level of pressure. Air traffic is a safety sensitive position. The margin of error is zero. So if you think about it, it's pressure on top of pressure when you don't know exactly when you'll get paid based on politics.
The Department of Transportation says it's continued to see an increased number of sick calls from controllers, leading to spotty staffing shortages.
Well, I don't want my air traffic controllers to take a second job, but they're having to make decisions about how they spend their time to make sure they put food on their table, feed their kids, and support their family members.
Bro, I don't blame them for wanting to quit. I'd completely leave that whole career entirely if this is how things are going to be. Like, someone's like, don't worry, y'all. They're putting in a new ballroom. They got money for it, but they don't have money to pay these federal workers. Just like this comment said, they got money for ICE to keep running, but no money for essential workers that run day-to-day operations that keep the world going. Make it make sense. While the White House is getting a $250 million non-essential upgrade.
Imagine your boss locking the doors, refusing to work, and still cashing checks. Well, that's Congress right about now. America, we're creeping up on 30 days of a government shutdown. 30 days. Federal employees are still getting no paychecks. Meanwhile, in Congress, they still eating good over there. Mike Johnson is pulling in almost 20 grand a month before taxes by himself, while all the rest of us are trying to figure out how to keep the lights on. And I'm going to tell you how bold Mike Johnson is. He canceled all votes and all conversations in the House for next week. You know why? Because he's still getting his check, so he don't care. He don't care if you can't pay your rent, your daycare, your mortgage, your car note, your electricity bill. As long as his account gets that deposit, problems don't exist. Now, here's the part that they don't tell you. Check your local state laws to see if there's some protections for you. Some states actually prevent landlords from evicting you during a shutdown. And you might have access to emergency programs that keep you from losing your housing. Look it up and check with your local jurisdiction, because these protections are exactly for moments like this. We shouldn't even be here, but we're here because people like Mike Johnson, making almost 20 grand a month, refuse to lock in and do their job.
That's why they're playing Russian roulette with our ability to survive. And now with the shutdown going on and people not getting their pay, a lot of them are lining up at food banks just to put a meal on the table.
It's life-altering.
Today, hundreds of thousands of U.S. government workers will miss their first paycheck, and many have already been furloughed or laid off. We heard from some of them at this D.C. food bank, which is providing special help to federal employees.
I've actually have never been to a food bank or have done any of this.
I do have a daughter at home. She's a year old. She's eating real food. She's not on formula. So these food banks mean everything.
With our 13-month-old daughter, we are doing whatever we can to make ends meet.
I also do Uber on the side as like a side hustle, and it doesn't pay the bills. When you start to actually look at that first paycheck that's not coming in, and you start to look at your expenses, you start to realize that, hey, you actually got to come out here and come to these places.
This upcoming month is going to be a struggle for us.
I'm just taking it one day at a time. And
all I can do is just continue to pray.
I'm looking for another job. I can't go through this again.
Imagine you're going to lose a lot of workers who have essential skills because of this situation. Some of them might not ever come back to these careers. One paycheck gone and they're already struggling. It goes to show you that a lot of people were really on their ends. It's like maybe they weren't really getting paid, or they were really living paycheck to paycheck.
We are at a food distribution center today in Alexandria, Virginia, and everyone you see who's getting a box of food is a federal worker. And that's because as of today, 2 million federal workers are missing their first full paycheck. And I've spoken with folks in this line and in others. They tell me that they're dipping into their savings. They're considering part-time work. They're just dealing with a lot of uncertainty here as the shutdown continues to drag on. And for the food distributors, it's not just federal workers. They're going to have to start thinking about some of the 42 million Americans who are going to begin missing out on their SNAP benefits starting next month. Now, Congress is trying to work on a potential solution here. There was a bill on the floor yesterday that would have paid non-furloughed federal workers. Dem shot that down. They said all federal workers need to be paid. But there does seem to be some bipartisan momentum on that. Also, a little bit of bipartisan momentum on making sure that SNAP is funded. But at this point, just a lot of uncertainty about what, if anything, is going to pass. And certainly at this point, no way out yet of this government shutdown.
I'm surprised. Like, to be honest with you, I know this might be wrong and I'm sorry for this, but I saw some really pricey cars. Like, I saw a Honda Accord, but that looked like a 22 year edition. I saw an SUV, a Honda SUV. So I'm kind of wondering, like, how is it that one paycheck could get you to a point where you almost don't have money to put food on the table? But leave your comment down below. I don't mind to be proven wrong if I don't get it. Given they arrived in a $50,000 vehicle, describing them as very poor with no paycheck appears inconsistent. Either way, the fact of the matter is this is a very terrible situation.
Federal employees who have been deemed essential, meaning they still are required to show up for work, they just aren't receiving a paycheck because of the government shutdown. They've been told they can't take any time off for the duration of the government shutdown, including for sick days. So I just want to throw it out there, a scenario that I know a lot of federal workers are now finding themselves in. If you're a federal worker who is deemed essential and you have young children that go to daycare, right now, you can't pay the daycare because you're not getting paid, which means your kid can't go to daycare, but you also can't stay home with your child, even if they are young enough that they cannot stay home on their own. You still can't stay home with them because boss, big government, is telling you, no, we don't give a shit that your child doesn't have care. You still have to show up. We don't give a shit if your kid is sick or if you're sick. You still have to show up, even if that problem is entirely caused by them not paying you your paycheck. Meanwhile, House Republicans have not had to show up for work in a month. And since July 4th, they have taken more than 2 months of paid time off, thanks to Mike Johnson. So they get unlimited amounts of time off, even though them taking time off means that this government shutdown continues because they're not showing up for work and trying to fucking negotiate an actual solution. They're just going to keep going on TV and yelling that it's the Democrats' fault, even though, spoiler alert, it's not. But while they are out getting their Fox News hits and gallivanting around the country, they're not even allowing these federal workers who are being forced to show up to work for free. They're not even letting them take a sick day. I found all of this out because of a federal worker that I personally know that is deemed essential. I talked to them yesterday and they told me all of this. Luckily, they are old enough that their children have long since left the home and they don't have the issue of childcare, but many of their coworkers, surprise, do. This is the government that we're supposed to believe cares about us. This is the administration we're supposed to believe cares about us. What a fucking joke.
My prediction. First, Congress isn't coming back. Second, Trump will assume control of the budget right before Thanksgiving, so Black Friday looks good. Third, no back pay. When has Trump ever paid workers what they're owed?
For the second time in nearly 10 years, Devin Rayford, a lead officer for TSA, is not getting paid because of a federal government shutdown.
It's like slavery almost. So you're going to work, they're making us work, they're threatening us at the same time, but everyone pretty much is working for free. Nobody wants to go to work and work for free.
Rayford, who was also impacted by the 2018 through 2019 government shutdown, says he does not think this will end until after Thanksgiving. He tells WREG that this time of uncertainty has forced some airport workers to quit because they can't make ends meet.
We've been losing a lot of people due to not getting paid, so they've been switching occupations. And like I said before, the young people, they don't know like when their next check's coming in or when the next meal is coming in and to be able to provide for their families.
The father of two says he's had to dip into his savings account to take care of his daughters, but he doesn't know how much longer he can do it. With the holiday season quickly approaching, Rayford is calling on lawmakers to end this government shutdown now.
Lock in and get it done, because they're not the ones suffering from this. We're suffering from this. And like I said, nobody wants to go to work and work for free and not know where their next meal or check is coming from.
In the meantime, Rayford says he's contacting food banks and other nonprofits who can help his family and his coworkers who haven't been paid for weeks.
I'm so sorry this is happening to working people in our communities and who are literally the heartbeat of our government. We are all missing check from hunger, homelessness, no health care. Honestly, I wish all of them all the best. At the end of the day, we don't want people to be suffering. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are, especially with federal workers going to food banks, businesses being affected by this, and it looks like this government shutdown is going to be going on past Thanksgiving. Leave your comments down below and let me know what your thoughts are. Now, if it's your first time to the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It does help the channel out. If you haven't, also check out this video. I'm sure you're definitely going to enjoy it. But nevertheless, I will see you guys when I see you. Peace.